Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are now starting the stream, and thank you very much for joining. Today we are streaming the FSL Mobile Legends Bang Bang tournament. My name is Aris and I will be your caster for today. So we have a couple of interesting games to go on. If I'm not wrong, we have 4 best of 3s for you, and we'll be streaming primarily the round 1 and round 2 of the brackets. If you missed it out, well, you can always check out the brackets later. I'll flash it later on the screen so you guys can have a look. But pretty much the first game of the day, it's going to be BELLETRON up against AVOILA. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. So I'm really excited for that. You know, BELLETRON obviously, I think they should be related to the BIGTRON players, but they might not be. I don't want to get things wrong, but the logo looks really similar. So I think that's the female version of BIGTRON for those who are fans of BIGTRON. Well, they have a female division. Obviously, you guys will know about that as well. So we are waiting for the final few members to come into the lobby, and obviously we want to make sure that all the admin is sorted out straight. Don't worry, we're getting that sorted as soon as possible. But before anything else, we'd like to give a big shout out to our partners and sponsors, Dreamcore, Yahoo, as well as Super Solid, for helping us out in the FSL. And once again, you are watching the Indonesian tournament. If you are new to the stream, welcome. But if you are, a regular follower, you've realized that we have a really cool new outlook. So we had a couple of changes in the overlays. We switched up the graphics. Hope you guys really like it. I personally like it as well. The graphics look really cool. Having this little glitch effect in the background looks something a lot different and very clean. It's a very clean overlay. But without further ado, I want to get the game started. However, we are still waiting for the final few adjustments. So in the meantime, I'm going to flash the brackets, and I'll be back really soon, so don't go anywhere. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back with the first draft of the day. It is BELLETRON up against, I believe it is BELLETRON up against AVOILA. So good luck to both teams, and now BELLETRON will kick off the draft being on the blue side. We're gonna start with I believe an Esmeralda and then Taliban, and then on the side of AVOILA they decided to ban out the Valere. They skipped the second ban, so I'm guessing that they just want to keep it open. By the way, it's a little bit of a remake. So in terms of lobby, so maybe they've already decided the heroes, they know what they're gonna pick. So we do see a Claude first pick. I like the Claude first pick. I think it's really strong. He's one of the most stable MMs out there, and if they play the hyper carry MM, then it's pretty much gonna be a really important hero that can scale really quickly, especially into the late game, given that he's farming phase. He can use his blazing duet to speed up the amount of farm that he can get from lane to lane, and obviously with the help of better mirror dimensions, he can also go from lane to lane even quicker as compared to the other MMs that will have to rely by moving on foot. And over the side of AVOILA, they decide to pick up the Atlas. I like it. They follow up with the ban from the Valere. It kind of makes a lot of sense. They pick up the Harv as well, so they don't really need an MM, right? They kind of focus around this Harv pick as an MM, by picking up the Feather of Heavens, and then they can really scale really quickly, because Harv is a hero that once you get the Feather of Heavens and the concentrate energy, he becomes a MM that's so hard to take down because of his sustain and the fact that with Summon Force his cooldown is really low, so he can really just proc his skills really quickly. And they also pick up the Nana, which I really like. Really cheap support, doesn't really need too much. And for the most part, I think both draft look really good. So a Uranus, Claude, Kagura, Kufra, Tamus. Obviously they want the Uranus and Tamus to play on the opposite sort of lanes, whereas for the Claude, Kufra, and Kagura, I would expect them to be rotating around. Whereas on the side of AVOILA, they do have the Atlas, which is really strong frontliner, and I don't think they will be playing 1-2-2 if they're playing 1-2, or rather they're playing 1-3-1, because if they're playing 1-3-1, they do lack that second fighter, which I don't think Kadita can fulfill as well, as compared to like a Uranus or a Tamus.
Till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them.
So here we go, first game. And remember, if you missed out any of our previous games in the FSL series, you can always check out our Facebook page, our Instagram, our Twitch, YouTube. We stream all over the place. Looks like we're gonna have BELLETRON play a little bit aggressively, quickly clear up the lane, and a 4-man group up clearing up their blue buff. AVOIR gonna take a little bit more time to clear up the lanes as compared to BELLETRON, who's already in the invasion. Look at that, Gami's already in the base, or rather in the jungle. It looks like they're gonna go up against the Atlas. The slow coming off the Molten Scythes, and they might be able to get first blood. Really wants this first blood, they might be able to get it. And now Gami in a lot of trouble trying to back off. The flame shot comes out with the slow, and Kadita will get him. A little bit unfortunate, but they did manage to walk away with the red buff. Not only that, they also walk away with the first blood, so not too bad of a result from that invasion. BELLETRON really stepping up the pressure from the get-go.
Request backup.
So it looks like it's really a Kadita that's going to be playing on the solo lane. Like I said, I don't really like it as compared to, you know, like a Tamus or Uranus that's really independent, and you know they do get that wave push a lot quicker as compared to a Kadita. But we'll see how that works out. So far she's doing really decently, making sure that the Tamus doesn't really leave the lane, you know, pushing towers a little bit, did decent damage over there when the Tamus was invading. Meanwhile, we do see Xbox on the bottom side. Doesn't really have to worry too much against this Uranus, although we have seen that, you know, Uranus, who generally play a lot aggressive, a lot more aggressive as compared to the counterparts, can get more out of the lane. Now we do see PT jumping right onto the Harif in a lot of trouble. The stun comes up, they get the Q, and they even manage to get it onto the Claude, which is always the best. Last Insanity comes up, they might be able to get another Q right here. Claude saving his ultimate, already used it. Get a Q onto Atlas. Ash needs to fade that. Ooh, Ash goes in onto the back. She's just jumping in. Doesn't even have to use the ultimate there to pick up the Q onto the Nana. Really good aggression coming up from BELLETRON right here. Not only that, they might be able to pick up the blue buff, which is always a bonus. Just secure that for himself, so that isn't too bad. Meanwhile, Gami might have overstepped the boundaries right now. Kadita forced to use the ultimate. As they secure their own buff. Meanwhile, BELLETRON picking up the turtle. Nah, I think for the most part, BELLETRON are ahead. 2k goalie as of now. Last Insanity, sort of a desperation to force the Uranus back from split pushing. Now I do see this duo, and Gami is just doing a really good job at, you know, isolating her counterpart away from the lane. Look at that, even has time to pick up the jungle creep. Probably will head back into the lane to force this Kadita in the top side. Kadita with no mana. Look at that. The issue with Kadita on the side lane is that she's really mana dependent, and you know, casting the skills to clear the waves will take up a lot of that mana that she needs, especially in teamfight. So it's a bit of an issue, especially if she wants to clear the lane and still be part of the teamfight. If it happens in mid, she has to rotate. And look at that, because of the TP, Tamus will probably get this top tower, and she might even go down for it if Gami decides to push. And meanwhile, bottom lane, he did manage to pick up the Q onto the Xbox, and now Atlas going in Annihilation, but doesn't have the clear side. Fatal Links in not exactly the best position to use that, and now even Hiram's in a lot of trouble. And Hiram's revenge goes in, Claude goes in with the better mirror image, and they pick up 3 Qs right there, 3 at the bottom lane. They pick up the tier 1 on the bottom side, and even Tamus gets a stray Q by herself. And now if you look at it, BELLETRON obviously ahead by a lot. 6k goal lead within the 5-minute mark. Not only that, they have total map control at this point in the game, to a point where they just walk into the jungle, pick up the blue buff, and make things so hard for AVOILA right now. And Claude's already picked up the Demon Hunter Sword, so you definitely know that he has a ton of damage. And I'm not too sure if he actually wants to go for the Endless Battle, but it looks like he's going for it. He's already picked up the Mana Necklace. So obviously wants a lot more reduction on the cooldown of the ultimate, so that she can spam that Blazing Duet, be it whether it's farming lane. And obviously Garmin setting up a trap for the Kadita. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Kufra making sure that the team does have space to push both the middle and the bottom lane. Claude going in the Blazing Duet for what? But the Tyrant's Revenge into the Tyrant's range. It's a 2-man catch out, and Uranus can now just jump into the middle of it. Oh, last insanity, but not enough damage. Atlas will go down, and now Xbox no way out, and that is a savage for the Claude. And they get an ace, which is a whole team wipeout. Now only with the Nana out, I'm sure they will get this tier 3 with the Crips pushing in. Not sure what Nana can do here. And you really need Harith to get going. At this point in time, he hasn't completed the Feather of Heaven, so he doesn't really have the damage needed in all these fights. He's gone for the Calamity Reaper, which I really don't like as a first item. Yes, it's good for proccing your, the skills really often, but at this point in time, you need reduction of cooldown, you need the damage to come through, and I think Calamity Reaper is not too bad of an item, but the issue is the farming, the pace of the farming, right? Obviously, Claude comes online a lot quicker. She's currently 9-0, and it's just so tough for AVOIR to find a team fight right now. You do see Xbox getting dived underneath the tower at the bottom lane. Nothing much that again TV Vita can do. She's only trying to slow down this push coming from BELLETRON. But at this point in time, you can see they're just going in. Tyrant's Revenge coming and not really catching anyone out there, but they do manage to clear up the wave. Top lane already pushing in with the creeps. Gami still sticking with the split pushing mentality. Find a lot of space. Uranus now frontlining for the team, setting it up for the Claude. Kufra will dive in the Magic Ball, but no pull up there from the rest of BELLETRON. They don't have to rush in. Ashe now going in the Blazing Duet. Look at that. It's going to be an easy double kill. In fact, it's the Uranus that picks up those kills. Chinoy sticking it around, soaking up all the damage from the tower. Magic Ball from the Kufra. It looks like Kadita will be forced to use the ultimate to get back into the base safely, but with the tower going down, that is a really quick GG coming up from BELLETRON. Easy first game.
Victory!
And what can I say? That was as straightforward as it can get from any game that we might see coming up from today's game. BELLETRON, they were really relentless from the get-go, really aggressive, making sure that it was really tough for even any of the teams or rather for the side of AVOILA to push back. Look at the net worth at this point, right? You're looking at an 8.6k goal lead for the Claude, and she's decided to go for the Endless Battle, which I do like because they're way ahead, so she doesn't really need the golden stuff as of yet. She's obviously going to build into it, but at this point in time, she's really focusing on making sure that she gets the cooldown reduction at its maximum, so that she can really spam her skills, be it whether it's the better mirror image, so she can jump in more often, or whether it's the Blazing Duet, so she can take part in team fights a lot quicker. I think the build is really good, but more importantly, I think it's really frightening at the pace that BELLETRON moves. If from the get-go, you see them just invading onto the raid with the Tamus by his own, or by her own, and then next up, you do see a little bit of aggression in the middle lane. And the moment they won that very first team fight, I'm not even sure if you can classify that as a team fight. They just didn't really step down. They just continued the aggression, making sure that the Uranus is pushing the bottom lane. Tamus handled the Kadita really well, and I spoke about the Kadita pick and why I don't really like her as a fighter role, because she doesn't really have that wave push, and you can definitely see, you know, she was struggling with the mana consumption just to keep up with the Tamus push, and for the most part she wasn't really able to keep in range of the Tamus because of how aggressive he was, or rather she was. And every single time she was in range, you know, she would just drop the mortar scythes on her. She's taking unnecessary damage, and it's just so hard for the side of AVOIR to keep up with BELLETRON's pace because of how quickly they rotate around the map. So I think that's something that AVOIR have to be really careful about, because moving into the second game, I don't see BELLETRON shifting away from the meta. I think they're sticking to the guns, and it's working really well for them. So I mean, there's really no reason for them to change that strategy whatsoever. So hopefully they will do better in the second game. Obviously this is a best of 3, so we are waiting for the teams to remake. But remember, if you are supporting any of the teams, remember to state in the comments below, like and share the stream with your friends, and we will be back with the second game in a bit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with game number 2 between BELLETRON and AVOIR. As you guys saw in game 1, BELLETRON obviously had a pretty one-sided game. I would say they did really well in terms of early game pressure, so I'm expecting them to play quite similarly coming into game 2. This time around, AVOIR, they decided to ban out the Claude and Kaja. Really smart decision, you know, leaving with the Claude. Once the best decision, I think Claude at this point in time is one of the best MM to pick up. When it comes to the first phase of the game, I think what makes Claude so dangerous is the fact that he has a really low cooldown on his skills. So it makes it really hard to contain Claude in the first few minutes of the game, and obviously that translates into him picking up the ultimate quicker, and he comes online quicker as compared to the other marksmen. So it's really hard to fight him when he has that blazing into it, and more importantly, when he picks up that Demon Hunter sword, he just goes insanely out of control in terms of farming. So we do see a Kadita pick once again coming up from AVOIR. I don't really like the Kadita pick as the first pick. It's really iffy. I think, you know, there are better mages out there, but we'll see how they do the Kadita. I think she's really comfortable with the Kadita, no doubt. But you do see that struggle in terms of keeping up with the mana consumption, and obviously pushing side lane. She's a lot slower. She requires a lot on her skills just to push out, whereas if compared to like a Tamus or even the Uranus, you know, they have really low mana consumption. They don't really have to go back to base. They're quite sustainable in lane, and they don't really need much support because they're really independent heroes when it comes to farming. So I think it's not too bad, but we'll have to see. I think if she can get 1 or 2 good rough waves, she might be able to put the opponents in a bad spot. So we'll see how that one goes. They pick up the Grok, which I do like. You know, a bit of early aggression there. The power of nature, you can clear creeps really quickly for your marksman the first wave push. So I think that's a really good pickup. Whereas on the side of BELLETRON, they do pick up the Qualifiers and Asmorda, 2 heroes which I do like. You know, if you look at the way Kadita works, Kadita relies a lot on the shield, and you know, Asmorda is just gonna eat all of that up, and that is a really bad sign for the side of AVOIR. And this is why I said, you know, you shouldn't pick up the Kadita early game, because it kind of reveals a lot of, I would say, weak spots in your draft. But you know, they follow up with the Jawhead pick, which I do like. They pick up the Farsa as well, so it's definitely going to be an Asmorda side lane, and I'm sure they want to pit that Asmorda against Kadita just to make life way harder for AVOIR. And you know, I really do think that at this point in time that Granger looks good. Granger for BELLETRON looks good. You know, they can consider Bruno as well if they want to. I think Granger is a lot better because of the flexibility. You know, the fact that you can use Rhapsody while you're moving it backwards to avoid damage, and you can also kind of have a roll. You also have Death Sonata. You know, it's just the flexibility in range. So I think Granger is a really good pick here. Or they can even decide to go for something a little bit greedy, like a 1-1, which I feel they won't go given how BELLETRON likes to play. I think they will go for the early game draft and Granger, or maybe even a Bruno. I really don't see them picking anything other than these 2. So yeah, Granger, the soft lock, and they go in for the final pick. Lancelot pick up for AVOIR, which I think is really interesting. You know, Lancelot has been finding his way back into the meta, and there's really no doubt he does have quite a bit of burst damage in his kit, and you know, he's a hero that can traverse really quickly, low cooldown on taunt rolls, and you know, Phantom Execution just has so much damage packed into one skill, and I can see why, you know, people are starting to pick him a lot more often. However, that being said, remember this is a best of 3, so if Belletron do pick up game 2, it will be over for Viola. And we are playing in a single elimination bracket, so it's really vital that AVOILA stays afloat by picking up game 2. But this is it. Remember to follow us on our Facebook page as well as on Instagram for more updates, and wherever you're watching on the stream, remember to type in the comments which team you're supporting.
To Mobile Legends. 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them. All troops deployed.
And immediately from the get-go, Jawhead with the smart missiles bring Valor down to half HP, has to burn the flicker away, and this is a really bad start, I would say, for the Valor. But nevertheless, no harm, no foul over there. No Qs picked up. Vivian playing a lot more aggressively, bringing the Grok down to half HP. And trying to use the flame shot to pick up the kill, but I would have preferred her to play a little more aggressive. Like, she could have stolen the buff, I would say. So I'm sure AVOILA will be really careful from now on.
Initiate retreat.
Once again, they try mid lane coming up from BELLETRON, working really well for them. You know, being able to push the wave in really quicker means that they can rotate faster. A lot of this game will rest on the shoulders of carry to make sure that she can farm into the late game, make sure that she can carry the team hard enough. Essentially, you want to get the carry up and running ASAP, but you know, putting carry in a 1-2-2 means that she won't get all the farm on the map. And immediately we do see Granger jumping in alongside Qualifiers as well as Farsa. And BELLETRON is sticking in this rotation of 3, which has been the norm in a lot of the high mythic games that you will see teams adopt, where you know, you do get that marksman, you know, 2 or rather 3 to 4 mask, and you do see that aggression coming up from BELLETRON. They are sticking to the meta really closely. Grok trying to buy space for the team. Asmodee jumps in with the ultimate, the stun coming in with the feather air strike, execution coming in with the puncture, but no effect there. Grok probably will go down to the Asmodee. No way out for Mew. And Lancelot in a lot of trouble. They definitely want her one more hit, and they will get it through the energy impact. No way out for the Lancelot.
Turtle resurrecting soon.
BELLETRON 1.6k
Launch
in
attack.
terms of goal lead. Feather airstrike so that they can steal this blue buff. It goes to Jawhead.
Initiate retreat.
Not the worst case scenario, given that it's a steal. Now, well, BELLETRON have already picked up the middle turret, and they will work their way towards the turtle. No, though Aikimi spots her out. I don't think it's going to be a wise decision to contest this one. Better to stay alive at this point in time. Meanwhile, bottom lane, looks like AVOILA are making moves of their own, trying to pressure this Asmodee on the bottom side. Qualifier going in with the Tyrant's Revenge, Tyrant's Rage, waiting for the puncture coming in. And although there was no Tyrant's Rage, they do manage to secure the top lane, so it's a 1-for-1 trade.
Initiate retreat.
Like I said, not the worst case scenario for BELLETRON at this point in time. I would say for the most part, AVOILA have been struggling to keep up with BELLETRON's rotation, and I really do think that it comes down to the 1-3-1, you know, the fact that Graduate comes online a lot quicker, and they get it with the ejector. Didn't really need that summon force, but you know, just to make sure that the Q is in the back. Meanwhile, gonna use the Curse of the Crow, putting the mark down onto Mew. Tyrant's Revenge coming in, doesn't land onto the Valor, but ejector is on standby. They toss the Grok back onto the base, and a Flame Shot will secure the Q right there. Kadita going in by herself. The ultimate comes in. Doesn't really catch anyone right there. Feather Airstrike onto the carry. Has to be careful about her positioning right there. And BELLETRON looking to push this tier 2 in the middle lane. And it's good. They catch out the Lancelot and immediately jumps onto the back. Not only that, I think Kimi might go down. Unstoppable Force right through the wall. Good kill coming up from Gami. And unfortunately, she will go down, but not before bringing the Valor down with her, or rather, you know, buying enough time for Vivian to bring down the Valor with her. And now BELLETRON looking to end things in game 2. 7k goal lead. And it looks like we're gonna see a double Blade of Despair coming out from both the Jawhead and the Graduate, which is really scary, I would say, given how much damage we saw Jawhead did in that very first engagement against the Valor from the get-go. Death Sonata coming up, not be able to pick up the kill onto the Grok, but it does serve as a warning statement just to push AVOILA back into the base. Meanwhile, we do see Vivian clearing up the jungle, and Esmeralda just gonna make her way and slowly push into the bottom lane. Not really much that she can do at this point in time. Like I said, she's probably gonna eat everything up this Stardust Dance. Meanwhile, top lane, we start the Q onto Kimi, who ironically isn't playing Kimi. I would say Kimi works really well in the draft. You know, if you take out the Kadita, I think Kimi would work a lot better, even if it's a double MM, given the fact that they are playing 1-2-2, and you know, you do need a lot of rotation to beat BELLETRON, because BELLETRON's rotation is just focusing a lot of aggression early game. You know, they don't really give a lot of space for AVOILA to farm, and you know, it's definitely working out really well in terms of pacing. Purifra charging up, Tyrant's Revenge onto the back line. They get onto 2 targets that they want, and now the Valor might even go down. Stardust Dance, they don't get the Valor, but they do manage to pick the Kimi up. And with the Kimi down, they are lacking a lot of damage. AVOILA not able to find a response to BELLETRON's aggression. Chinoy gonna go back to heal up. Meanwhile, we do see Feather Airstrike from Vivian onto bot lane, just to push out the bottom side. Courage Mask picked up for Pixie. That's gonna aid with the movement speed of her teammates when she does activate the mask. And BELLETRON already knocking on the doors of AVOILA's base. Mew taking a lot of damage from the Feather Airstrike. Esmeralda just pushing on the bot lane, making sure that the team is split into 2. Alright, AVOILA is split into 2. They managed to jump onto the Valor with the magic ball. Puncture coming up. And look at that, the Feather Airstrike. 4 strikes right on top of the members of AVOILA, and they took so much damage. Easy roll out for the Grandeur. Once again, Pixie setting up the stun. Doesn't really land on anyone, but it doesn't matter. They will be able to pick up this tier 3 sooner or later. Already 1 hit away from knocking down. Turtle is up, and looks like Venom immediately goes for it. Look at that, BELLETRON is just so efficient in terms of rotation, right? Whether or not it's objective or picking up Qs, and every single time in the map they are trying to pick something up. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Feathered Airstrike will secure the Q onto the carry. Chinoy going in with the Feathered, or Chinoy going in with the Falling Star Moon. And although they didn't pick up any Qs right there, they do manage to pick up the tier 3 tower. They do find the Valor Q. I think this is once again gonna be a really quick GG. 9 minutes already. 2 tier 3 towers. I don't even think they need to wait for the Lord. They are already pushing onto the base. Pixie once again going into the Tyrant's Revenge. Chinoy following up with the Falling Star Moon. Like I said, Asper, they're just eating all the shoe up with the Stardust Dance. And once again, Pixie goes in, gets pushed away by the Searing Taurus, but it doesn't matter. They've already zoned out the Grog. They pick up the Q. And now AVOIR just hanging on to their life, just pushing out the waves as fast as possible. Lancelot goes down, Tyrant's Revenge coming in and sets up for BELLETRON's. It looks like it's pretty much going to be GG here. The last of the tier 3 towers have fallen. And it's all down to Carry, who gets blown up in an instant. Didn't even get to retaliate there. And BELLETRON.
Victory!
Well, what can I say? Pretty much one-sided affair so far coming out from BELLETRON. They look really good, and I gotta say it all came down to the rotation. I really do think that the rotation played the most part of it. They were really aggressive, you know, making sure that they didn't give any space whatsoever to AVOIR and AVOILA. And you can see, you know, in terms of the net worth, obviously it's really one-sided given how aggressive they were from the get-go. The invasion coming in from the Jawhead onto the Valor, just not giving them any space whatsoever to farm. And then, you know, on the top lane you do see the Esmeralda, or rather the bottom lane Esmeralda, just doing a really good job at keeping the Kadita in check, which I did mention beforehand that was going to be one of the issues that AVOIR were going to face, because of the fact that Esmeralda is just going to eat up all the shield coming up on Kadita. Every single time she uses the shield, she's just gonna eat it up, because, you know, shields are just food for the Esmeralda. And like I said, you know, I really do think that despite AVOIR putting in their best shot, it's really a skill gap that you can see between these two teams, and BELLETRON just doing their best to end the game as quickly as possible, not giving any way for AVOIR to come back into the game. And I think that's just really good professionalism coming from team. With that being said, we'll go for a short break, but once again, congratulations to BELLETRON. They will proceed into round 2. And I believe next up we have another match between Vivacious Angels up against Nigget Esport Ico. So hopefully these two teams, as they're preparing, we will also let other teams have a break. When we are back, we'll have more Mobile Legends for you, so don't go anywhere.